Hey guys, my name is Katrina Nicole-Ivy, and today I'm going to tell you how I created my content studio with just $1,000 and how you can do it too. So in the first step, you need to define your target audience. The main reason you're doing this is because when you're actually creating the content studio, you're decorating it and giving it some type of personality, you need to know who you're speaking to when you're creating it. You can have so many different aesthetics. You can go for the modern aesthetic, the grunge aesthetic, a vintage aesthetic like I did. You can go for any type of aesthetic. If it's not appeasing to the target audience that you're aiming for, then you're kind of gonna miss the mark and gonna have to like remarket for the people that this space is appeasing to. So from the beginning, if you have a certain clientele that you're trying to speak to, say it's photographers or girly girls or somebody in that lane, you know, okay, when I have this space, it's going to be lots of pinks, a lot of vibrant colors, very feminine, very, you know, artistic. If it's like photographers that you're trying to target, you want it to be more simple, clean, so they can like customize it in the way that they want to do it for their clients. So you have to be cognizant of this before you even start. It's not the end all be all if you happen to make this mistake, but you have to keep in mind that you might have to fork up some more money if the people that you're trying to target aren't really liking the space that you created. The second step is determining your budget. Now that you have an idea of who you're speaking to, who you're trying to gravitate this space towards, you have to know, like, okay, based on the things that I might need in this space, what is a budget that I can get away with? And sometimes you're not even basing the budget off of that. Sometimes you're just basing it off of what you actually have in your pocket and what you can make do from what you have. For instance, I use my bonus from my job, my 9-to-5 job, to make this space. I had $1,000 and I wasn't forking up or going into my bill money so that I can cover the space. I was using a set amount of dollars to find the location, put the deposit down, decorate, get people to help me, etc., etc. So you have to keep this in mind. It's really easy when you have something so creative like this to go over budget. Even though you're trying to create this vision in your mind and you're trying to appease this certain clientele, does your budget align with that? And if not, you have to readjust and crunch the numbers and get alternative decorations or alternative things so that the customer's gonna be happy and also you're gonna be happy. But at the end of the day, it's mainly so your customer can be happy because they're the ones who's going to be giving you your bookings and generating your cash flow. Now that you have your target audience and your budget in mind, you have to go out and choose a location. So for me, I really had to talk myself off the ledge when it came to picking a location, because in the beginning I was so eager about creating this space. I was willing to drive 100 miles, 50 miles, whatever the case may be, to find a space that was within my budget. But then when I started touring around and actually viewing these places, I realized like it's not tangible to be driving 50 miles to Macon, Georgia, or these random places in Georgia just to secure a spot that was within my budget. And as you know, the farther you drive out in certain places, like if you're in New York, if you travel upstate like Buffalo and those like farther out places, or if you're in Georgia, traveling deeper within the South is going to give you affordable prices. However, most of us live in the city. So to be driving out of the city every time you get a booking, that's not tangible. Of course, you'll be excited when it's time to tour it because, okay, this is within your budget and it's nothing to drive 50 miles one time. But to do that every time you have a booking. So say you have 3 bookings at 11, 2, and 7. During the same day, are you going to be going back and forth from Brooklyn to Buffalo every time you have a booking? No, you're not. So you also have to think about that. Even though it might be within your budget to go farther out, you have to crunch the numbers and really talk to these people, exhaust your resources like Craigslist, people you know, whatever the case may be, so that you can find an affordable space. Now that you have your ideal location, it's time to set up your studio. And this is the fun part, but kind of the hard part, okay? So to start me off, I am a visual person, so I had to draw it out. I sketched out how I viewed my studio. And as you can see, my studio was really, really small. It was cute, it was comfy, so I wanted to make the most of this small space. I drew the pictures that I envisioned being on there. I drew where the current furniture was going to be, as well as the furniture that I was gonna bring within the studio. I did all of that so that it was not so much of an effort effort for me to try to figure it out while I was in the stores. I wanted to have a game plan so that when I go into these stores and I'm sourcing materials, I don't have to like think on the spot. I already have my plan and I'm going in and taking action and setting the studio up right away. Because another thing I must mention, when you're having a studio and you're setting up your own studio, time is of the essence. Once you lock down that deposit on your space, the clock starts ticking, and you don't want to just spend all your time designing the studio, sourcing things, and a month has passed and you have not generated any income. The whole purpose of this is to appease your clients as well as create a cash flow for yourself. So like I said, I sketched out my space and then I started shopping. I went to places like Habitat for Humanity. I went to thrift stores. I went to places where I knew the furniture was going to be way less than normal because again, I'm working with a small budget. And the thing about it is, it's still great quality pieces in there. It's just used. But as long as you have a creative eye and you get inspiration from things that you've seen on Pinterest or things that you've seen around you, you can make it work, trust me. Now your space is all set up. You have your cameras in one section, your picture frames, your couch, your sitting area, everything is aligned, and now it's time to set up your booking system, which leads into the next step. I personally use Peerspace. Peerspace is basically a booking database where you can book your clients, you can have a seamless checkout, you can have reviews, interactions with your clients before and after their visit, and just have like a full experience without having any personal one-on-one interactions with your clients. So there's no late night calls for rebooking, there's no random telephones from strangers that you don't know. Everything goes through this booking system, which makes this whole process seamless and secure. So the next step would be promoting your studio. For me, this was super optional because I wanted a business where I didn't have to be the face. I wanted to be behind the scenes yet still be able to be creative, and I felt like having the content studio was the perfect outlet, and it is, because I really did not need to promote. And again, Peerspace was a super great platform because everyone, well, pretty much a lot of creators that are into photography and videography, they know to go there to get a studio. So a lot of the clients are actually coming to you, whereas you don't have to like go and search and, you know, do a whole bunch of outreach just to get a client. They're usually seeing your space, and if they like it, if it's aligned with the vision that they have for themselves, they're gonna book it. But sometimes when you have a new space and people are unfamiliar and there's no reviews to reference, you might need to do a little push. So you might need to go on TikTok or YouTube or your personal Instagram and let people know that you have this new thing, and if they're interested in using it, you're the resource, you're the plug. So you might do a little promotion there, but once you have a flow of things, once people realize like, okay, you're a reputable space, it's legit, you're efficient, you have great customer service skills, it's off. You don't have to continuously promote. But if you need to, if you're seeing a lag in your sales, if you're seeing a lag in your bookings, I highly recommend promoting yourself on social media. A lot of studios do it and it works for them. And the final step is just to execute and be patient. You would not believe how quick I was able to get this idea in my head and have it set up. I believe it was this time last year, January 23, I literally had the idea, and within a couple weeks or so, it was up and running. You can even see one of my first bookings on here in one of my old vlogs. So it always comes full circle. Anyways, before I start going on a tangent, I just want you to know that this is super possible. I did it and you can do it too. If you're interested in getting a more extensive breakdown on the market research tips that I use, the platforms you can use outside of Peerspace, it's all in my ebook, The Ultimate Guide to Building a Content Studio That Thrives. I'll link it down below, but you can also just leave me a comment down below and I'll be happy to help. One more thing I must say, half the battle is just starting. So with this project, if you're interested in doing it too, just start. You'll see that it's not as hard as it may seem, and you have all of the capabilities to start right now. Anyways, as you know, this is a channel where we learn, create, and most importantly, evolve. My name is Katrina Nicole-Ivy, and thank you so very much for watching. Bye. Oh my God. This is nice. This is great. What the freak? Okay, I'm gonna just, are you done? Okay.